It was a quiet morning. A taxi stopped in front of a small house. A girl came out of the taxi. Her name was Lila Adams. Lila was 16 years old. She had brown hair, a small face, and kind eyes. She was carrying one big bag and a smaller one. Lila looked around the street. It was new to her. She had never been here before. She took a deep breath and smiled a little. "This will be my new home," she said softly. But there was something about Lila that nobody in the street knew. She was not just a normal girl. She was a real princess. Her full name was Princess Lila of Algeria. Her father was the king of a small country in Europe. He had sent her to live in America for 1 year. The king wanted her to learn how normal people lived. He wanted her to go to school like other teenagers. He told her, "Lila, you must see the world for yourself. You must learn how people really live." So now, she was here, living alone in a small apartment, without guards, without maids, without her royal clothes. The next morning, Lila wore simple clothes, jeans, a t-shirt, and sneakers. She took her bag and walked to Hillcrest High School. The school was big. Many students stood in groups, talking and laughing. Some had colorful hair. Some wore fancy jackets. Everyone looked busy. Lila felt shy. She had never gone to a normal school before. She had always studied inside the palace with private teachers. She went to the office. A kind woman smiled at her. "You must be the new student, Lila Adams?" "Yes, ma'am," Lila said quietly. The woman gave her a paper. "Here's your timetable. Your first class is English. Room 1-2B. Lila thanked her and walked down the hall. Many students looked at her. Some smiled. Others just stared. At lunchtime, Lila sat alone at a table. She was eating her sandwich quietly when a group of girls walked in. Everyone in the cafeteria turned to look at them. They were loud, dressed in stylish clothes, and laughed a lot. The leader of the group was Tessa Monroe. Tessa was rich, confident, and popular. People called her the Queen of Hillcrest. She noticed Lila sitting alone. She smiled, but it was not a nice smile. "Hey, new girl," Tessa said. "You're sitting at our table." Lila looked around. "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I can move." No, Tessa said. "Stay. We just want to talk." The other girls laughed. Tessa looked at Lila's clothes. "Where did you buy that shirt? It looks old." Lila's face turned red. She didn't say anything. "Relax," Tessa said, laughing. "We're just kidding." But everyone around them could see she was not kidding. Lila finished her food quickly and walked away. After school, Lila walked home slowly. She felt sad. People at school were different from what she imagined. At home, she looked at her phone. There were pictures of her family. Her father the king, her mother the queen, and her younger brother. She whispered, "I miss you all," but she reminded herself, "I must stay strong. This is my new life now." The next morning, Lila went back to school. She tried to smile. She tried to talk to people, but most of them already knew she was the girl Tessa teased yesterday. In the hallway, Tessa and her friends saw her again. "Oh, look, it's our quiet princess," one of them said. They all laughed. Lila walked past them without saying a word. But Tessa called out, "Hey Lila, do you have a boyfriend? Or are you too boring for that?" Everyone turned to look. Lila froze. She didn't know what to say. Then suddenly she said, "Yes, I do." Everyone gasped. Tessa raised an eyebrow. "Really? Who is he?" Lila looked around quickly. She didn't have a boyfriend. She just wanted Tessa to stop teasing her. Then she saw a boy walking down the hall. Tall, confident, and handsome. It was Jake Carter, the school's basketball captain. All the girls liked him, even Tessa. Without thinking, Lila said, "Jake Carter. He's my boyfriend." The hallway went silent. Jake stopped walking. "Wait, what?" he said. Everyone started whispering. Tessa looked shocked. "You're lying," she said. "Jake would never date you." Jake looked confused. "What's going on?" Lila's face was red. She wanted to disappear. Later that day, Jake found Lila near her locker. "Hey," he said. "Why did you tell people I'm your boyfriend?" Lila looked scared. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Tessa was teasing me, and I just said it without thinking." Jake sighed. He didn't look angry, just surprised. "You really put me in trouble," he said. "Now everyone thinks we're dating." Lila's eyes filled with tears. "I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to make problems." Jake watched her for a moment. Then he said, "All right, I'll help you. We'll pretend to be dating for now." "That'll shut them up," Lila blinked. "You mean you'll go along with it?" "Yes," Jake said. "But you'll help me too." "I'm failing math. You can tutor me." Lila smiled a little. Deal, and that was how it started. The fake relationship. The lie that would later change everything. After that day, everyone in school thought Jake and Lila were a couple. People whispered when they walked together. Tessa looked angry every time she saw them. Jake and Lila sat together during lunch. Sometimes they laughed. Sometimes they just studied. They started to know more about each other. Jake learned that Lila was kind and smart. She liked reading, drawing, and baking cookies. Lila learned that Jake wasn't just a cool boy. He helped his little sister with homework. He worked part-time at a store after school to help his mom. They became friends. But Tessa didn't stop watching them. She wanted to find out if they were truly dating or if it was fake. One evening, Lila was studying with Jake in the library. He leaned closer to look at her notes. Their hands touched by mistake. Both of them looked at each other. Lila's heart beat fast. "Sorry," Jake said quickly. "It's okay," Lila whispered. That night, when Lila got home, she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Jake. But she reminded herself, it's all fake. He's just pretending. Be still, her heart didn't listen. The next morning, everyone at Hillcrest High was talking about one thing: Lila and Jake. Some students were happy for them. Some didn't believe it, and a few were angry, especially Tessa. She slammed her locker shut and said to her friends, "There's no way Jake Carter is dating her. She's lying." Her friend Bree nodded. "Maybe we should find out." Tessa smiled. "Oh, we will." Meanwhile, Lila and Jake were walking to class together. Layla was shy, but she tried to act normal. Jake carried her books and even opened the door for her. "You're acting like a real boyfriend," she said with a small smile. "I'm just keeping the story believable," Jake said, grinning. They both laughed. But inside, Lila's heart felt warm. She knew it was supposed to be fake, but it was starting to feel real to her. After school, they met at the library again. Jake hated math, but he tried his best. Lila helped him solve each question step by step. "You're actually a good teacher," Jake said. "You're just pretending, so I'll give you extra help," she joked. "Maybe," Jake said with a smile. They both laughed again. It was strange. At first, Lila was nervous around him. But now, she liked spending time with him. She liked the way he made jokes, how he didn't care what others thought, and how he smiled when she talked. Sometimes she caught herself staring at him and quickly looked away. Tessa was not happy. She wanted to make Lila look like a liar. She told her friends, "If she's really dating Jake, then let's prove it. I'll find a way to catch her lie." And that night she posted a picture online, an old one of Jake and Tessa standing together at a party. She added a fake caption, "Miss me yet? Tessa and Jake forever." The next morning, the picture spread all over school. Everyone saw it. Some students laughed. Some whispered behind Lila's back. When she walked into school, she saw the picture on people's phones. She felt sick. Jake came to meet her. "Hey, don't believe that picture," he said quickly. "It's from last year. Tessa's just trying to make trouble." "So you two used to date?" Lila asked quietly. Jake sighed. "A long time ago. But it was nothing serious." Lila nodded, but she still felt hurt. She didn't know why. It was just supposed to be fake anyway. During lunch, Lila sat with Jake, but she was quiet. "You're acting weird," Jake said. "Is this about Tessa?" "No," she said softly. "It is, isn't it?" "Maybe," she said. "I just don't like everyone laughing at me." Jake leaned back and sighed. "People will always talk, Lila. You can't let that get to you." "It's easy for you to say," she said. "You're popular. You don't know what it feels like to be picked on." Jake's face changed. "You think my life is easy. You don't even know me." He stood up and walked away. Lila sat alone, her eyes wet. For the first time, she felt the pain of their fake relationship. It wasn't fun anymore. Later that week, Lila got a letter in her mailbox. It was written in gold ink. Her hands shook as she opened it. It was from Sir Edmund, one of her father's royal guards. "Your Highness, the King requests your monthly check-in. Please attend the private call this weekend. Do not reveal your identity to anyone." Lila sighed. She was tired of hiding her real life, that she knew she had to obey. That weekend, she joined the video call secretly from her laptop. The king appeared on the screen, her father, dressed in a royal suit, sitting in the palace office. "My dear Lila, how are you doing in America?" "I'm fine, father. School is different." "Are you keeping your identity secret?" "Yes, father. No one knows." "Good. Remember, no one must find out you're the Princess of Alderia. The press must never discover where you are." "I understand." Her father smiled softly. "B. I miss you, my child." Lila blinked back tears. "I miss you too. B. When the call ended, she sat quietly for a long time. Her secret felt heavy again. She wanted to tell Jake who she really was, but she couldn't. On Monday morning, Jake found her at her locker. "Hey," he said. "Can we talk?" She nodded slowly. "I'm sorry about the other day. I didn't mean to yell. I've got stuff going on too." Lila looked at him. "Stuff like what?" Jake hesitated. "My mom's been sick. I work after school to help pay bills. That's why I sometimes get tired in class." Lila's eyes softened. "I didn't know." "Yeah, well, I don't tell people. They just talk." And Lila smiled gently. "B. Your secret is safe with me." Jake smiled back. "Thanks, fake girlfriend." They both laughed, and for the first time in days, things felt better. The school fair a few weeks later, the school announced a spring fair. There would be games, music, and a talent show. Jake was going to play basketball in the sports match. Lila joined the art competition. Tessa planned to perform a dance with her group, and she was sure she'd win. At the fair, everyone was happy. Lila helped paint faces for kids and smiled all day. Jake came by after his match. "Hey, fake girlfriend," he said, holding up a small teddy bear. "I won this for you." Lila laughed and took it. "You didn't have to." "I wanted to," Jake said simply. They walked around the fair together. They played games, ate cotton candy, and laughed like real friends, maybe even more. But someone was watching them. Tessa. She took pictures secretly and smirked. "Let's see how long your little fairy tale lasts," she whispered. The night of the fair, when the fair ended, Lila walked home alone. It was dark but peaceful. As she walked, she noticed a car parked near her street. A man in a black suit stepped out. He looked familiar. It was Sir Edmund, the royal guard from Alderia. "Princess, it's not safe for you to walk alone," he said quietly. Lila looked around nervously. "Sir Edmund, you can't be here. Someone might see you." "Forgive me, Your Highness. But your father is worried. There are rumors that a reporter may have tracked you to this town." Lila's heart raced. "What? How?" "We're not sure. But please be careful. Do not tell anyone who you are. Not even your friend." He looked at her meaningfully. Then he got back into the car and drove away. Lila stood frozen. If a reporter really found out who she was, her whole life here could end. And she wasn't ready to lose it. It was Monday morning again. Everyone was back at school, talking about the spring fair. Some students were saying nice things like, "Lila and Jake looked so cute together." But others said, "Tessa looked angry. I think she's planning something." Lila heard the whispers but tried to ignore them. She just wanted a normal day. She met Jake at his locker. "Good morning," she said, smiling. "Morning, Princess," Jake said, joking. Lila froze for a second, then laughed weakly. "Don't call me that," she said. "Why not?" Jake asked. "You act like one sometimes." "I'm not," Lila said quickly. "I'm just me." Jake laughed. "Relax, just a joke." But deep inside, Lila felt uneasy. If only he knew the truth. That same day, far away from school, a man sat in a small office. His name was Mr. Cole, and he was a reporter for a big magazine. He was looking at pictures on his laptop. One of the pictures showed Lila walking with Jake at the school fair. He zoomed in on her face. "She looks just like Princess Lila of Alderia," he whispered. He searched online and found old royal photos. He compared them side by side. Same eyes. Same smile. He smiled to himself. "If I can prove this, I'll be famous." He grabbed his camera and said, "Time to visit Hillcrest High." Meanwhile, Tessa was angry. She was sitting with her friends, talking. "Lila is acting like she owns the school," Tessa said. "Everyone likes her now." "What do you want to do?" Bree asked. Tessa smiled coldly. "We'll catch her lie once and for all. I'll get proof that she's faking everything." "But what if she's telling the truth?" Bree asked. "Then I'll still ruin her." "I always win," Tessa said. They all laughed. Over the next few days, Lila and Jake spent more time together. They went to the park after school. They studied, talked, and sometimes just sat in silence. Jake told her more about his life, about his mom who was sick, his little sister, and how hard it was working at night. Lila listened carefully. She wished she could help him, but she couldn't reveal who she was. One day, she brought him lunch. "You didn't have to do that," Jake said. "You looked hungry," she replied. He smiled. "You're too nice for your own good." Lila laughed softly. "And you're too stubborn for yours." They both laughed again. Something real was starting to grow between them. Not just friendship, not just pretending. That Friday, it rained heavily. After school, Jake offered to walk Lila home. They shared one umbrella. They were laughing and splashing through puddles when suddenly, a camera flashed from across the street. Jake turned quickly. What was that? Lila froze. Her heart jumped. She saw a man with a camera running away. "It's nothing," she said quickly. "Maybe a random person." "That's weird," Jake said. "Why would someone take our picture?" "Maybe they thought you were famous," Lila said nervously. Jake laughed. "Yeah, right." But Lila's smile faded. She knew that was the reporter Sir Edmund had warned her about. 2 days later, Mr. Cole, the reporter, sat at his computer again. He zoomed in on the photo of Lila. "I knew it," he said. "That's the princess." He sent the picture to his editor with a message. "Possible royal in hiding at American high school. Need confirmation." The editor replied, "Get proof first. No story until we're sure." So Mr. Cole decided to go deeper. He printed the photo and made plans to visit Hillcrest High himself. The next day, Tessa was leaving school when a man stopped her outside. It was Mr. Cole. "Excuse me, young lady," he said politely. "Do you know a girl named Lila Adams?" Tessa frowned. "Why do you ask? I'm doing a story about her. She might be someone important." Tessa's eyes widened. "Important? Like who?" "Let's just say someone with a big secret," he said. Tessa smiled slowly. "Maybe we can help each other." Mr. Cole smiled too. "I think we can." Meanwhile, back at school, posters were everywhere. There was going to be a spring dance. Everyone was excited. It was the biggest event of the year. Jake turned to Lila and said, "We should go together. You know, keep the fake thing going." Lila laughed. "Big sure. For the fake thing." But inside, her heart beat faster. She wanted it to be real. She went home that night and picked out a simple blue dress. It wasn't fancy, but it made her feel special. The gym was decorated with lights, flowers, and balloons. Music played loudly. Everyone was dancing and laughing. Lila walked in, and people turned to look. She looked beautiful. Jake smiled when he saw her. "You look wow," he said. "Thank you," Lila said shyly. They danced slowly, smiling at each other. It was the best night Lila had ever had. But across the room, Tessa and Mr. Cole were watching. Mr. Cole took pictures secretly while Tessa whispered, "You're going to get your story tonight." Later that night, Lila went outside to get some air. Mr. Cole followed quietly and took another photo of her face in the light. When she turned, she saw him. "Who are you?" she asked. "A friend," he said. "Or maybe someone who knows who you really are." Lila's heart stopped. "What do you mean?" "Princess Lila of Alderia," he said. "I knew it." Lila froze. "Please, you can't tell anyone." "It's my job to tell everyone," Mr. Cole said. "The world needs to know where the princess is." Lila looked scared. "Please, I just want to live a normal life." Just then, Jake walked outside. "Lila, what's going on?" Mr. Cole turned to him and said, "Ask your girlfriend who she really is." And Jake looked at Lila, confused. "What is he talking about?" Lila's eyes filled with tears. She didn't know what to say. Lila stood still. Jake looked at her with wide eyes. The reporter, Mr. Cole, had just called her a princess. "Lila," Jake said slowly, "is that true? Are you a princess?" Lila opened her mouth, but no words came out. Tears rolled down her face. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't want you to know this way." "So it's true," Jake said again. She nodded slowly. "Yes, my real name is Princess Lila of Alderia." Jake stepped back. He couldn't believe it. "You lied to me," he said quietly. "No, I couldn't tell anyone," Lila said. "My father sent me here to live like a normal girl for 1 year. So I was part of some royal plan." Jake said, angry. "No, you weren't. You were the only real thing in my life," she said, crying. Jake shook his head. "I can't do this." He walked away, leaving her alone with the reporter. Lila tried to follow him, but Mr. Cole blocked her. "You don't understand," she said. "Please don't publish this." "Sorry, princess," he said. "This story will change my life." He left with his camera. Lila stood there, crying in the dark. The next morning, Lila woke up to her phone buzzing. She looked at it and gasped. There were pictures of her on every news site. Princess Lila of Alderia found living secretly in America. Students at Hillcrest High were talking about it everywhere. They showed her photos on their phones and whispered as she walked past. "She's a real princess? She lied to everyone." "I understand," he said. "But until things calm down, I think it's better you stay home." Lila nodded. She packed her bag and left school quietly while cameras flashed outside. When Lila got home, her phone rang again. It was Sir Edmund, her father's royal assistant. "Your Highness," he said. "The king wants you to come back to Alderia at once. It's not safe for you there anymore." "She fooled everyone," Bree said. "Not me," Tessa said proudly. "I always knew she was hiding something." They laughed again, and Lila heard them as she walked by. Tessa smiled and said, "Nice crown, Your Highness." Lila didn't say anything. She just kept walking. Later that day, the principal called Lila to his office. "Lila, your story is all over the internet," he said kindly. "There are reporters outside the school. Is it true?" "Yes, sir," Lila said softly. "I didn't mean to cause trouble." No wonder she acted so fancy. Lila wanted to run and hide. When she saw Jake in the hallway, he didn't look at her. He just walked away. Tessa and her friends were laughing near their lockers. "Did you see the news?" Tessa said loudly. "Our school had a princess all along." "But I can't leave now," Lila said. "I have friends here." "I have," she stopped. "You mean Jake?" Sir Edmund asked gently. "Yes," Lila said. "But he hates me now." "He will understand one day," Sir Edmund said. "But right now, your father needs you home." Lila sat on her bed and looked around her small room. It had felt like a real home. Now she had to leave. At the same time, Jake was sitting in his small kitchen with his mom. She was looking at her phone. "Jake, is this your girlfriend?" she asked, showing him a photo of Lila in a royal gown. "She's not my girlfriend," Jake said quietly. "Not anymore. She looks like a nice girl," his mom said. "Why are you so upset?" "Because she lied," Jake said. "She made me think she was just like me." His mom smiled softly. "Son, sometimes people hide who they are because they're scared, not because they want to hurt you." Jake thought about that for a long time. The next day, reporters filled the front of Lila's apartment building. They shouted questions like, "Princess Lila, why are you here? Is it true you were hiding from your father?" "Who is Jake?" Lila didn't answer. And Sir Edmund came in a black car to pick her up. "Your Highness, we must leave now," he said. Lila looked out the window and whispered, "I wish I could say goodbye." The car drove away. Later that day, Jake saw a new video online. It was Lila, sitting with a reporter explaining everything. She said, "I only wanted to live a normal life. I never meant to hurt anyone. I just wanted friends who liked me for me." Jake watched quietly. He saw her eyes, red from crying. He remembered all the times she had been kind to him. He realized she wasn't lying to hurt him. She was just trying to be normal. Jake stood up, grabbed his jacket and said, "I have to see her." Jake ran to the airport. He saw reporters everywhere. He looked around until he finally spotted Lila with Sir Edmund, walking toward the gate. "Lila," he shouted. She turned. Her eyes widened. "Jake!" He ran up to her. "I'm sorry," he said, out of breath. "I was angry, but understand now." "You came?" she said softly. "You're my friend," Jake said. "I don't care if you're a princess." Lila smiled through her tears. "Thank you. Do you have to go?" he asked. "Yes," she said sadly. "But I'll come back." "I promise," Jake nodded. "I'll wait." They hugged tightly as cameras flashed all around them. Then she walked away, turning one last time to wave at him. Jake waved back. Back in Alderia 2 days later, Lila arrived at the royal palace. Her father hugged her tightly. "My dear Lila, I was so worried," the king said. "I'm sorry, father," she said. "I just wanted to know what life was like outside the palace." "Now you know," he said gently. "And I see you've learned what truly matters," Lila smiled. "Yes, I learned that real love and friendship don't care about titles or crowns." The king nodded proudly. "You've grown up, my daughter." Back at Hillcrest, Jake sat at his desk, writing a letter. He smiled as he wrote, "Dear Lila, I hope you're doing okay. School is strange without you. Everyone misses you. Even Tessa won't admit it. I just want to say thank you for teaching me that kindness is real. I'll keep waiting, just like I said. Your friend always, Jake." He folded the letter and looked out the window, smiling. Lila's smile in Alderia. Lila sat by her window. She opened a letter that had just arrived. It was Jake's. She read it slowly, smiling the whole time. "I'll keep waiting," she whispered. She looked out at the stars and said softly, "And I'll come back." The wind blew her curtain gently as she smiled. 2 years passed. A lot had changed. Lila was now 18. She had finished her royal lessons in Alderia. She attended meetings, helped in charities, and learned how to be a kind princess. But every night, before sleeping, she still thought about Jake. She remembered his smile, his jokes, and the promise she made at the airport. "I'll come back," she whispered often. "Be her father." King Theodore noticed one day and said, "Bee, you still think about your time in America, don't you?" "Yes, father," she said softly. "Then go," he said kindly. "Visit again. You've done well here. You've grown." Lila smiled widely. "Thank you, father." Back to Hillcrest. 1 week later, Lila arrived back in Hillcrest quietly. She didn't come with guards or press. Only Sir Edmund came with her. She wore simple clothes like before, and walked down the same school street where she used to live. She smiled. "It feels like I never left," she said. At that same time, Jake was no longer a student. He had finished school and now worked as a helper at a local garage while studying engineering in college. He was taller now, stronger, but still kind. He often thought about Lila. Sometimes he looked at her old letter and smiled. "B. I hope you're happy," he always said quietly. That morning, he was fixing a car when he heard a voice behind him. "You still talk to yourself?" Jake froze. He knew that voice. He turned around slowly. It was Lila. Jake dropped his tool and stared in surprise. "Lila?" She smiled softly. "Hi, Jake." You came back," he said. "I told you I would," she said. He laughed in shock. "You look different. Grown up." That evening, Lila and Jake went to the park like old times. They sat on the same bench near the lake. Children were running around, the sun was setting, and everything looked peaceful. "So what happens now?" Jake asked. "I'm not sure," Lila said. "My father said I could stay for a while, but maybe one day I'll have to go back." Jake nodded slowly. "Then let's make every day count." Lila smiled. "Deal." They both laughed and watched the sunset. A few days later, Lila invited Jake to a small charity event she was hosting. It was for poor children in the town. Jake helped her carry boxes and set up tables. He watched how she talked kindly to everyone, smiling, listening, giving. He realized she wasn't just a princess by birth. She was a princess by heart. When the event ended, he said, "You're doing good things, Lila." "I learned from you," she said softly. "You taught me how to be kind without needing a crown." Jake smiled. "And you taught me how to dream bigger." They both looked at each other for a long time. Weeks passed, and Lila's time in Hillcrest was almost over again. But this time, it didn't feel sad. It felt right. She knew she would always be connected to this place, to the people, to the lessons, and most of all to Jake. Before leaving, she gave Jake a small box. Inside was a silver bracelet with 2 letters engraved, L and J. "So you don't forget me," she said. Jake smiled. "I never will." They hugged tightly one last time. Tears rolled down Lila's cheeks, but she was smiling. "I'll visit again soon," she said. "I'll be right here," Jake replied. As she walked away, Jake looked at the bracelet and whispered, "Goodbye, princess." A year later, a letter arrived at Jake's home. It was sealed with the royal mark of Alderia. He opened it and smiled as he read, "I am now helping my father lead the kingdom, but every day I still think about Hillcrest and about you. You made me brave. You made me real. Thank you for being my true friend and my first love. Love always, Lila." Jake folded the letter carefully and looked out the window at the sky. "I miss you too," he said softly. The wind blew gently, and for a moment, he felt like she was right there. He smiled, put the bracelet back on his wrist, and whispered, "The fake boyfriend and the secret princess. Not so fake after all."